Hey, everybody. What's up, everybody? Listen, we're just gonna have a calm stream, okay? Shout out to everybody who will come through while a bitch is live. But I think I made another amazing find in the area of Mars, and so I want to document it. I want to document it. So that's all I'm doing in this stream, y'all. So I started going back looking at the older rovers that we've put on Mars. And the reason why is because I started noticing, well, to be honest, I was curious whether or not I'd be able to find like an insect or a bug or something like on the actual rover. And I found a couple of very interesting photos with really strange looking things on the rovers, but I wasn't exactly sure. But last night I started digging, and I went back. I even looked at even older photos. And what I believe is happening, honestly, is I think that there's like a growth that is occurring on the rovers. I even checked Perseverance, and most recent image that came back from Perseverance, a selfie, and I was able to find this same exact growth. I think that there is a growth that is happening on these rovers, whatever you want to call that, okay? Is it life? Okay, whatever. Maybe Mars's version of life. But not only did I find this growth, okay, I found clear-cut photoshopping, shitty photoshopping at that. And I really like those earlier photos because Photoshop was not as good as it is now. So you can definitely see, okay, the differences. So, hey, Red Vines, happy Friday to you. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So I went and I looked at some Perseverance shots, selfie shots, and I found the exact same pattern. There's a pattern to these things that we're seeing. Now, not everything. We've seen instances of single-bodied, like something, like the lizard man, the Mars creature with the weird sort of triangle head or whatnot. There's been a couple images that have been posted over there on Joe White's page over there. But just me, I've been tracing these things out, right? Getting really good shots, tracing out these so-called life forms, I guess. And what I noticed as I was tracing them out, especially when I got a shot of the side actually of one of these buttes or whatnot, there's a pattern, and that pattern, you can literally lay your pen down and draw and never even have to lift your pen up. It just keeps going on and on and on like a chain. I think that whatever you want to call life, it grows, connects, grows, connects, grows, connects, grows. And I found the same spots in which you see like this growth happening. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but I started looking at again like these older photos, came up on this one, and I think I'm right. I was not only able to find instances of this growth on the Opportunity rover, on the Curiosity rover, on the Perseverance rover. I have not looked at some of the others, MSL or mass cam images yet. I will sometime today, but no question in my mind that there's some sort of a growth happening on these rovers. So one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm going back to one of the very first images ever taken of Opportunity. This is what I'm talking about right here. There's a growth that was on that Opportunity rover that got bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And I actually looked at images over time. So I'm telling you what I know. But there is some growth of these. It looks like it's very symmetrical, very, very symmetrical growth. It's like a life form grows, and then it grows an additional life form, and it just multiplies over and over and over. So if you haven't looked at a lot of these images, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But if you really look close at these rovers, especially like this Opportunity rover, in between these cracks here, that is not Mars wiring or NASA wiring. This is part of the growth, all of it. It's in every single crack, every single crevice, every single one. And there is, look at that. There's also growth right there in the front of it. I caught a photo where I was able to actually see it. But whatever this growth is, again, it grows in like a geometrical fashion. It grows, multiplies, connects, grows, multiplies, connects, and this continues on. And it sort of like grows within itself, and it just keeps expanding and expanding. So this right here, and here's the other really interesting thing about this. Dimensions, right? Dimensional, 2D, 3D, viewing 2D, 3D. But this right here, it looks like it's almost part of the rover. I don't think it is. This right here, as I started going through all these different photos, I actually found an instance where this, which was growing straight up, plopped over. It actually plopped over, fell forward, fell back, whatever you want to call it. And maybe it got too heavy. I don't know. But I've been following these, along the different souls, getting to the older souls. And the more souls, the more growth I see. The thicker the growth in between the cracks. And the photoshopping is amazing. Horrible photoshopping jobs, okay? Like this. Clear photoshopping, right? That's because these growths are right on the rover, hanging like a vine. Hanging like a vine. These little, this brown right here, this brown is not wires from NASA. This is part of the growth. And I know it's growing slow because as I look through these images, the older that the images go, the thicker that the growth has gotten. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. But this is what I'm talking about. If you actually look at this growth up close, you'll see that the way that it starts, you know, it almost looks like they're on top of each other. They're all together. And NASA did a really good job of trying to make it look like metal, trying to make it look like part of the rover, but that's not part of the rover. I think this growth has been wrapped up all up in the rovers, and it's been so obvious. And NASA, look at these Photoshop jobs. And what I really love about these older photos is in these Photoshop jobs, they didn't take the shadows out, a lot of them, so you can actually see the shape in the shadow as well. And one thing I noticed in the shape or in the shadows, and I'm still going to continue to research this, but well, all I'm going to say is you can see the shape in the shadows, period. And as time goes on, anywhere there's a crack, there's growth in them everywhere. And NASA worked really hard to try to cover it up. I mean, look at that. Look at they just put look at this photo. Look at that. They just slapped a black. That's because there's growth right here, and it's wrapped and wound around these pieces of the rover. Yep, it's Mars. It's definitely something growing on them. And I think Red finds it equates over to what I have seen on the rocks, on the ground, almost like fungus coming out of the ground. It grows up the same. It's the same geometric pattern every time. And the only reason, like I was saying, that I even figured that out is because while I was tracing a long stretch of it, I noticed that when I put my pen down, I didn't even have to lift it up. It's like one big math problem. Literally, one big ass math problem. There is a image that I was able to pull last night of the rover where, and I'm talking about the Perseverance rover, I was able to see a recent image on, let me see if I can grab that. I think it was MSL 1805, no, 981. I'm gonna have to find it. There's an image, and I'm gonna find it, in which, on the Perseverance rover, I see that growth all down the front of it, on the bottom. It's hanging. And there was this image that NASA didn't even try to even hide it in this one. And that's partly why I like these earlier images and why I've been going through them, because NASA didn't know what they were looking at either, and did not necessarily Photoshop these things out at first. So let me see if I can find that Percy soul number. I found clear-cut examples of NASA photoshopping, of course. Amazing. I got some amazing images, actually. Let me see if I can pull this this Perseverance soul out here. Probably the best view. Let's see, MSL. This was pretty fucking amazing right here. And I think that we got a clear shot of this because NASA didn't know to take it out that during that time. This is the growth that I'm talking about right here. I was able to find this image. It was an of the Opportunity rover. This is the growth that I'm talking about. If you look at this really close, this is not part of the rover right here. You see all sorts of, the claws. You see that. You can very clearly see as you start looking at this, it just is like, whatever it is, it keeps growing on top of itself and it just keeps multiplying over and over. So that's why I say one big math problem. And the other interesting thing is this right here that's sticking up gets bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. And you can even see the difference just in Opportunity. This is Sol. I believe this was, let me see. Yeah, this is Sol 570. This is Sol 4557. Over 4,000 days later, you can see how this growth has gotten thicker over time. See that? Now, the reason why I know what I'm looking at is growth, especially the way I was able to confirm this, is because as I was looking at some of these photos that NASA did not Photoshop out for whatever reason, not to mention I'm noticing the thickness, the how there seems to be this duplication that's going on. I noticed that a lot of the photoshopping that NASA was doing was around this object for Opportunity. Actually, it's all around this. I think that whatever this is that's growing on the rover, it's happening around all these pieces. And so as I started zooming in, right, and looking at these images closer, I started noticing that where I was expecting or wanting to zoom in on the growth, that's where they're photoshopping at, which tells me even more that I need to keep my eyes on that area. So yeah, photoshopping sucks because they try to hide, things they don't want us to see, but it tells me what I should be looking for. And thus I went back, caught some earlier images, and I've been able to find quite a few things. So there's growth on the front right there of Opportunity, and there's growth over here on the pole. I'd have to look at a graph to see exactly what that piece is, but this right here. But yeah, it started out smaller and it just keeps going and going and going and duplicating and duplicating. And I just think that's really effing amazing. And like I was saying, over time, I think one of the rovers, I noticed that whatever it was, it literally just fell over. Maybe it was too heavy. I don't know. But it's thick as fuck. It's like a crab or something. Everything connected. And it just keeps going. But thick as fuck. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the other thing too. Dimensions, 2D, 3D. There's something about, I think it's 2D, but the way that these images look, and it'd have to take an image expert to really speak on this, but you could be looking at something in the image, some of this growth, depending on which way it's shaped or which way it's facing, you may not even realize there's something big right in front of you just because of the way it looks to you. And I think that's because it's in a different like eye dimension. And oh my God, this one really pissed me off because what is this? This is Soul 1282. I started looking at this and I'm like, look at this. They just copying and pasting shit all over the place. Look at that Photoshop job. Poor and horrible. Almost like they're pasting earlier photos from the rover. Look at this. Total Photoshop job. And again, that tells me I need to be looking there. So anyway, that's what I'm doing today, y'all. Not to mention like the entire piece is gone here. Like, and everywhere, every time you come up, it's got that cover on it. And then of course the cover is over to the left this time. But as you look, doesn't that look familiar? It's similar to the growth over here on this pole. It's very similar to this growth here. It's the same thing here. Maybe that's Mars's version of grass or something. I don't know, but NASA's covering it up because they don't know how to explain that shit. They don't have to. Just, let's decide for ourselves. Now, and then as you look, you'll notice it's everywhere on the rover. Those are not wires in between the rover. Nope. Look real close. You'll see this growth is growing everywhere. Everywhere. This brown. So anyway, guys, I'm going to take my audio out while I search through these images, all right? I think Red Vines, I think that this is Mars's version of life. There may be actual like a smart species of some type there, but the same way we would find like, you've ever found like grass growing on the roof of your house or some shit just because maybe the perfect amount of dirt or seed got there. We found like grass growing in strange places. I think that as soon as these rovers touched down and got that dust on them, I think that whatever this is grows out of that dust. Now, the other really fucking cool ass thing I noticed also last night, and I'm going to bring that up too, the shield or the equipment that I think it was the Spirit rover came out of. After I think that rover sat there for a few weeks or months even. I think there was an area, it was like 4 months, something like that. But there was an image in which I was able to see the same exact growth growing on that left away or that equipment that it was in as it was going to Mars, that, what it doesn't use after it comes out of it or whatever, heat shield, whatever you want to call it. But the same exact growth is on that heat shield too. I was able to see that also. So I think that it grows from the dust of Mars. And I think that just as easy as it is for grass to, grow from place to place, I think that it's very similar to that, almost like an ivy. And it's just growing in every crease, every crack. It has long tentacles that just grow into every single crease and every crack. And the reason I think it's able to grow bigger around these areas that have height is because there's height. So it can wrap around it like an ivy and continue to grow up and up and up and up. But this form of growth is in geometric shapes. think that's what we see out there on the horizon in a lot of these Mars photos as well, is growth. Maybe it's a form of fungus, but this fungus grows in this manner. One eye in, one eye out. And being able to literally put the pen down and you never even have to lift it up, not one time. You can go on and on and on and create all these shapes in one bundle. But I think it would take people time to figure that out over time, because, I mean, you can tell there's definitely something going on. These shitty Photoshop jobs. That's really how I was able to confirm it. Some shitty Photoshop jobs. And the shadows. Like right here is another example where you can see there's clearly growth on this. And whatever you want to call that growth, it's almost flat-like. But I think that's the way that we see it. Like maybe that's 2D or something. I don't know, but you can see it in the shadow. The shadow doesn't even match up. So that's what I think so far, anyway. But I want to find this perseverance photo where I was able to see a lot of this growth on the rover, on the Perseverance rover, the new rover. It was amazing. Let me see if I can find that. I know I screenshot it. But give me a sec. Trying to remember. How did I get that? I have to actually bring up my history. I don't, where's my history? It was last night. Okay. I didn't save that. I didn't bookmark that particular photo, it looks like. So bear with me. I have to find it again. It may take me a minute, but I will find it. I'm on a roll with this shit. I'm on a roll. But it's definitely it's an entire front view. It was a selfie. That's what it was. It was a selfie. Hold on. Maybe I can put that in my search. Selfie. Ooh, I found it. Found it. Okay, which rover is this? All right, this is a round me selfie. Okay, this was updated March 2020. This is Perseverance, right? But check this out. Check it out. There's growth every effing where. Hold on. NASA's really good at making it look like wires, but there's definitely growth on here that are not wires. For sure. Let's see.
This one.
You know something's going on. You know something's going on. Look at the horrible Photoshop job here. And it's this right here. What looks like wires, but that's not wires. I mean, if you really look at it closely, you'll see the same thing over and over, the same pattern over and over. This is growth. And it's everywhere. It's growing like literally around every part of the rover, like a vine. But you can clearly see this horrible job here. But if you even look at like this this opportunity deck pan, you'll see it everywhere. Everywhere. And the older that, or the new, you know, the older that things get, the more you see, the thicker it is. There was one example too of some growth in between one of these. Yeah, right here, right here. So you clearly see like some growth in between here, right? But then you go to look at some of these other pans right here. And then you don't see it, but you know it's there. But when you get to really looking close, you realize that, oh, that looks photoshopped, right? There's clear photoshopping going on here. It's very obvious, and didn't even get the circle lined up properly there. No question. I've been running into, just from kind of getting familiar with this, I've been running into all sorts of failed Photoshop jobs. And I think that's why they were Photoshopping a lot on these selfies of these rovers. Just like I think there's 3 of these little, whatever, blocks or whatever right here. And I think that's why they've been Photoshopping the fuck out of these selfie photos. Just like a, horrible Photoshop job right there. It's like, do you realize? What if these things grew so heavy that it caused the rover to not operate properly? Or could it possibly get so heavy that it could lean the rover on one side, possibly? Who knows? But in the places that I know that there's growth, just from the older photos, get to looking at, additional photos, and you see the Photoshop jobs, right? Look at this. That's because it's trying to hide the growth of this thing that's wrapped around this pole. Take a look at the shadow also. They even tried to Photoshop the shadow here. Look at that. Look at that. Horrible, horrible Photoshop job. And there's pieces of that growth right here. That's not wires in between these cracks. But they're trying to hide this growth on top of these rovers. And I mean, this shit is growing everywhere. Everywhere. Which this is one of the newer rovers, and look at how they did a horrible Photoshop job here. What the fuck? Oh, wow. Anyway, the thing to really look for is this color, okay? This is what you're looking for. This is the growth I'm talking about. It looks just like this. It's going to be evenly spaced parts, and it just sort of duplicates on itself over and over. It multiplies, connects, duplicates, multiplies, connects, duplicates. It's a pattern over and over and over. Another fine example. There's actually growth here, but it's so big and like, look at me, that NASA is trying to Photoshop that shit out. All right, I'm gonna keep digging here, y'all.